Good morning, everyone. It is early. The sun's over here, where in the last video I made it was way up there. So I've got our neighborhood crows making some noise over there. I'm doing this quick impromptu video. It's not in my normal scheme of things because today is December 7th. Historically, it's good for a couple of things. One, it's remember Pearl Harbor. It was a sneak attack, a ruthless attack, and it brought us basically into World War II. Our government was debating whether they should do it or not, and there's controversy over whether or not it was known about, encouraged, or we just didn't pay attention. I wonder if I can turn this a little bit and get a little more sun on my face. It's hard this time of year to try to get, I'm in the trees and there are no leaves on these trees. All the pine trees are that way. There goes our ranger this morning, checking the grounds to make sure they're ready for everybody. Okay, well, the one thing we've learned from history is sneak attacks backfire. We ended up staying in it and then fighting the Japanese all the way until we dropped 2 nuclear bombs on them. So it did not pay off the way they wanted. And we're finding in our current war, October 7th, they got more than they bargained for, unless, of course, their absolute total destruction is what they were counting on. So we just have to keep, I can see a little bit of, the temperature outside, I think we may have made it above 32, and I'm not sure yet. It still feels quite cold. It was down to 28 last night. My tent with the heaters stayed around 40, and it should start warming up today. I think tomorrow or Saturday we're supposed to get in the 60s with a big storm coming in. Be interesting to see what happens. Okay. Well, for today, my main idea is to talk about Hanukah, or if you pronounce it properly, it's actually a CH, and it's one of those Hanukah, clear your throat words. It's a 8-day festival. It is a celebration. It is not a feast where they're eating unleavened bread and doing all this other stuff and playing, doing their penance and stuff like that. This is an outright celebration. It's not covered in the Bible. It's covered in the book of Maccabees, and it is just a historical event that happened. It is a event where there was a miracle from God, and so they traditionally celebrate this. Tradition. So we're going to talk about that today. It starts tonight. Remember, with the Hebrew calendar, everything starts at night. So it starts tonight on the 7th and then goes until the 15th, which is also a Friday, and it goes until the evening of the 15th. It's where they light the menorah. It's an 8-candle, you've seen them, sticking up, and you light 1 candle a day. And you say, there's special prayers to go with it, and there's food. You got games for the kids where they bring out the dreidel, it's the little top, things like that. So it's a festive time. It's equivalent of Christmas for them, basically. Only theirs lasts 8 days. Okay. The word Hanukkah literally means dedication. And that's what it is. You're rededicating yourself because they rededicated the temple. Everything has to be sanctified, to be used for God, even the temple. And there's a ritual that they have to go through, and when they get their new temple, they're going to do that, where they have to go through and sprinkle the holy water on it and do all the things. They have to light the candles. They have their menorah. It's already, all their stuff to go in the temple is already made. That big menorah out in front, you can see it. It's well protected, but it's out in front. and it's ready to go to work as soon as they get them in there. They have to use special oil, and that's the case. The oil has to be prepared ritualistically so that it's also pure. So let's see, what do we have in here that I can talk about? It always happens on the eve of Kislev 25, which is the name of the month, and it goes for 8 days. It's almost always in December. It can start as early as November, but it kind of coincides with the solstice, which is the other reason that we're going to be talking about why we have Christmas when it is, because it's been a time of celebration for a long time. Now, this is a fairly new event. I mean, it's BC, but not very far BC. So this isn't, going back to the ancient days. And it's 2,000 years ago, but it's not 4,000 years ago. Okay. Let's see. The heart of the festival is lighting the menorah. You have one candle that you light, and then you use it to light the other candles. And when you're done lighting the candles one at a time, for each day, you put it back in the center. It's a station-keeping candle. 9 flames. Did I say 8? For this one, yes, it's 9 flames. The middle one, the attendant, as they call it, the shomesh. By the time they get to the last day, every candle should be lit. Candles are lit. I'm just glancing down through some notes I have here to just kind of see if there's anything worth including. Obviously, they have a special blessing and prayer that they have, and then they get to party. It is a celebration, and everyone gets to do this. There may be a menorah in a synagogue that you go to, but you would do this at home. This is not a Shabbat type day. This is it's going to fall on whatever day it's going to fall on, but in this case it's falling on tonight, the 7th. It's actually the full day is tomorrow. That's the way it works. Let's see. Holy prayer. Daily prayers, grace after meals, to offer praise and thanksgiving to God for delivering the strong into the hands of the weak. Anyhow, the basic story is that the Judean-Syrian group that was oppressing them, there was a revolt led by Judah Maccabee. And they were able to hold up, and when they got in there to dedicate the temple, they found that there was only one jar of oil that hadn't been desecrated. So they only had one day's worth of oil. But they were able to light the menorah, and it lasted for 8 days. So that is the miracle that they're celebrating. God helped them to do their required dedication. So that's why they celebrate it. Most of the world doesn't celebrate it. This is strictly a Jewish event, and it is a non-religious Jewish event, if you will. It's not covered in the Bible, in the Old Testament. So if you see somebody doing this, you're going to see, for tonight, if you see a lit up one in somebody's window, there should be one candle lit. It's going to be a tough season this year because they've still got hostages in Israel right now, and they're still fighting. And if you haven't heard the latest, they've hooked up some hoses into the ocean with some gigantic pumps, and they are literally pumping water out of the ocean into the tunnels that have been built underneath Gaza. They're supposed to be miles, hundreds of miles maybe, underneath there where they've been living and doing they'd pop up, shoot a rocket, get back underground and hide. So by getting rid of the tunnels, it will get rid of their ability to do this type of fighting. Israel will not quit until they've removed Hamas from the face of the earth. The atrocity that they created on October 7th is perhaps, like I said, more than they expected. They wanted to draw them into a war, but they're coming full force, and that's kind of scaring some of the other countries that are around them. They don't want the same thing. Lebanon's doing some fighting, and there's a little bit of stuff coming out of Syria. They've got thousands and thousands of rockets. Now, these aren't precision-guided rockets. They do have some of those, but most of them are the equivalent of a bottle rocket with a bomb at the end. So if it hits anything, it's going to cause damage. A lot of them fall in their own territory. A lot of the Gazians were killed by their own rockets. Of course, they try to blame it on Israel, and they say, well, the rocket that fell on this hospital was launched by Israel. But today's technology age, we've got video of everything. They've got satellite and video. They can prove that it didn't come from them. Of course, the media loves to jump on it because the world is becoming totally anti-Semitic. There are pockets where they're not, but the world is becoming that. And eventually, the whole world will hate Israel once they're completely taken over by the Antichrist. Okay, so just know that this is a mixed day. It's to remember Pearl Harbor, but it's also to remember the dedication of the Jewish temple, the rededication of it. So it's got a mixed blessing. And we're still waiting, don't know when, and it's cold. I'm going to go inside in the tent. I still have the heater running in there. It's warm. Well, maybe 45 degrees in there now. But for me, compared to this, I'm going to walk in that door and it's going to be warm. And then I can sit in front of the heater. Have a great day, everybody. We're into the holiday time. For them, it's Hanukkah. For us, it's Christmas. Everybody can be in a good mood. Now, if you're not in a good mood, it's not tied to the festivities. It's tied to you. God gives us the spirit to be joyful. Joyful in all situations. Paul sat in prison singing hymns with the other prisoners. Wherever you are, God is. So you need to be joyful for that. Now, if you can add some more stuff to it, that's even better. But if you can't, if you're home alone, you've always got God. And He's already given us a promise that we're going to have no problems once we get to heaven. So we just got to get there. So be happy about that. All right. Have a blessed day.